Hi there, this is Sue at Miller's Laboratory. Thanks for joining me today. Happy to see you. I have a little journal I want to flip through with you, and I'm calling this a cozy winter journal. I used a vintage quilt to make the cover, and let's measure this real quick, okay? It is just about 8.5 to 9 inches tall, and when it's closed, about 4 1/8 inches wide. There is room to expand this book. The way this is fastened, you could put more stuff in there and it would stretch. So I am using a button to close the book. And this elastic, which is something that I purchased when I was making face masks in 2020. It's really soft. And if I'm going to check on Etsy and see if it's still available. If it is, I'll put the link below because I'm almost out of it anyway. And I really do like it for books because it doesn't cut in and rip the pages like other elastics would. So I'm just going to open this all the way so you can see the quilt. This is the piece that I used. It was, I think it's called a wedding ring pattern. I'm not sure. I found it at a thrift store. It was very grimy. I washed it really well. It's very worn and it does have some stains in places, but I love it. I think it looks, I just want to hug the journal because it looks so cozy. So there are 60 pages inside. You can see that I lined the book with this blue pillow ticking, and there is just one signature here. This is all one signature. I did stitch in also a pocket made out of eyelet here as well. So I made a little tag here with a thermometer on it. And then this first page and the last one are cardstock, so they're a little bit more rugged and they'll kind of protect the book a little bit more. I found this really nice quilt pattern that I printed on this side, and then I cut out a snowflake and glued it on and wrapped it around to the other side. This is some vellum that's printed on. This is a page from an old math book. Just a sweet little collage here with this little girl and this pretty wreath that I stamped. This is the half of an envelope. So there is a little journal card tucked inside. This is made on vintage scrapbook paper, like the manila type from the old time scrapbooks. Here I have an up tuck, and in this I've placed this document. This is something I printed out, and again just added a little bit of collage on the front. This quilt pattern you see here is called Cathedral Window. This is a quilt that we actually own. My husband's grandmother made this quilt, so that's a photograph of it. And then I put the little deer on there as well. So this is just a nice journaling spot for you. And this is a nice tight pocket so it won't fall out. On the other side I have a little paper clip at the top, and this is again just another little journaling spot. Just some red coffee dyed paper, and then I just attached this vintage eyelet on there. Eyelet and lace reminds me of snow, so you'll see a little bit of that in the book. Just have a sweet little label here at the bottom, and again there's a little image stamped here. And then if we open this tab, there is a pop-up. This is an old postcard that I printed. It's not an original one, but it's a pretty winter scene. It looks like it could be northern Michigan, anywhere around here. Here on this page I've punched out a snowflake and then glued another one on so you can see what's underneath between that little hole. Stapled a little bit of fabric on here and made a pretty tag. This is just some nice heavy cardstock that sort of has a metallic sheen to it. An old dictionary page here. I did reinforce the top of it with some of this faux antique tape because that was a little bit cracky. Put this pretty white owl on there. On the other side I've made a little tuck, and we have another journal spot here with, I don't know if those are elk. They look more like elk than deer to me. And then the sweet I don't know what you call that, 9 patch, but it's just a bunch of little squares designed. That's another pattern that I printed out. Another little sweet little journaling spot here with this little girl with the muff. And this is just a simple piece of paper that opens up in there. Just for fun, just a place to write. Actually, this there, that opens up all the way. There you go. On the other side, I've tucked this little envelope here. You can take this out and you can write on both sides of this if you wanted to. The flap is tucked inside, so if you wanted to put something else in there instead, you can take the flap out and close it up if you want to. These are just 2 little tags that I made out of these claim check tickets. Just added different trims through the holes, and then I printed some snowflakes on vellum and glued those on there so they kind of look like washi tape or something. Just a plain sheet here. Over here I have a label at the bottom and then some layered pockets here. This pretty girl feeding the birds. Quilt pattern paper on the back. This is another quilt image that I printed, and I just made a little stapled booklet here with a couple of sheets of paper. And that looks pretty without anything in the pockets too. This pretty vellum sheet here. And some nice writing notebook paper here. On the other side I have this label, and this is actually supposed to be folded over like that, so that you get a little glimpse of that label. It makes the page more interesting, and it's something you can grab a hold to turn it if you want to. Okay, on this side I have this sweet little tag again with birds. Lots of birds in here. I used a little bit of polka dot fabric at the top for a tab. And then when that's in, it holds this little envelope closed. We'll open that up. I've lined the inside of it with some shiny wrapping paper, and then I just printed out this little document. This is some sort of a poem or something about winter, and then I just glued on that fussy cut little girl. Just an old receipt paper here with a pretty image on it. Now this one is the center page, and it opens up like this to show you a whole image, which I think is so pretty, like these pretty pine trees in the snow. On either side I've glued these little tracing paper packets, I guess you could call them, and there are little loose snowflakes in there, so they're kind of like shakers, and those will move around a little bit. Other half of the receipt with a little chubby winter baby there. And here I've made a belly band. That's I think called a Dresden plate pattern, and just tucked this pretty collaged tag in there. Put some chocolate cocoa label on there, because that certainly goes with winter and being cozy. Here I have a paper bag, so the quilt you see here wraps around to the other side. You have a little tuck spot here with just some sort of a vintage fabric, and I put it over a card catalog card. Then this is a pop-up, and it's got this image that's at an angle, some birds in a little hat out in the snow. This is vellum here, and this one I made into a little pocket or envelope. Just put this, this just came out on the Graphics Fairy Premium membership site, and I said, oh, I need that for my book. And then inside I printed this hot chocolate and also that chocolate label. This is an old canasta sheet that I used for that. And then this opens also, so you could put something else in here if you wanted to. And then here we have the other half of this blue one, and I have tags tucked in, or journal cards tucked into these. These are these sweet little images of the lady and man out in the snow. and I added glitter across the top. So you're going to get glittery a little bit with these. What's interesting about these is I think they were done in a series, but if you look closely, it's actually two different guys. So she's snuggling with both of them to see which one is better, I guess. Okay. Just a neat little label here from a winter carnival. And at the bottom here, this is some embossed paper that I did that has like a knitted cable pattern, which I think is really neat. Another pop-up here, just a really pretty winter scene with a lake. And then here I've added this little bunny, and this is a shorter page where I turned the top down a little bit and added these little 2 tags with the pair of mittens. This reminds me of when you're a kid and your mom gives you the mittens with the string that goes through your sleeves so you don't lose them. Pretty bunny here in the snow, and then a tag in here. This is some more of that cathedral window quilt printout. And then I added a little bit of vintage rickrack in the holes there, and a little bit of eyelet at the top. The label there is some kind of a fabric label you would use in a book, I think, but I stamped on it. Here's another up tuck with a pretty tag with a blue jay. And then here I've clipped a little postcard. This was a postcard that I printed out, and I loved the image of the fire with the little dog in front of it. It was a Christmas card though, and I had a Christmas message on it. So I went online and I found this other little poem about winter and about being by the fire, and I printed that and put it on instead and wrapped it around to the back. So now you can use that as a journal card. When you flip this over, you'll see that this is actually the other half of the envelope. And in here there is another little postcard that, again, that I printed. I did a little bit of stamping on it, made a little faux stamp at the top, and then I also just stamped that postcard on the back. Made a cute little tab here with some red ticking and a pretty bird here and some more vellum. And then here we have a window pocket. There's acetate in there. Probably you're getting the glare on it. Yeah. It's a really pretty frame. Let me see if I lift it. It helps, yeah. And then inside, this little tag with the girl who's skating. And that's the back. There's my label. I did sign these too with a gel pen. It's kind of hard to see, but it is there. All right. Now the exciting thing is I actually have made 10 of these. So they all are made from the same quilt. They have the same lining. They have all the same pages inside. But what's going to look different is the pattern of the quilt, obviously, depending on where I took it, and the buttons. Some of the buttons are plastic, some of them are shell. I think there might be one that's bone. They're all a little bit different, but they're all vintage. So I'm going to take pictures of all of those, and I'll get them in my Etsy shop today. If you're interested, please go take a look. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying the upcoming holidays and the preparation for all of that, taking a little time for yourself to be creative. See you soon. Bye.